good afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. I have Aly Leavitt joining me for number 20. 20! This is the 20th of these Where I'm Froms, and I want to thank you all for joining me and all the people who shared their poems, obviously. Thank you. And to all of you who've watched. This started as just kind of a whim to create community and have conversations around where we came from and our writing potentially in our process. So it's been a real joy for me, and Aly's here, so I'm just going to invite her, and she should be here in just a moment with her poem. I hope that everyone is hanging in there and doing well. I'm going to invite her again. Oh, here she is.
Hi. Sorry, I'm not
Hi.
tech savvy at all.
You are tech savvy. You are here.
I am here. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
You're
My
welcome.
compliment of the day.
I can give you lots of compliments. That's mostly my function here. So, you know.
Aw, you're so sweet. And you're function, like, just in life, you're such a complimentary person. I love that about our friendship.
Thank you. I try to be, because it makes me happier when I say the happy things in my head out loud, and people, even if they're awkward with compliments, like me, it's still nice to say it.
I agree. It definitely is. You want to join? Come here. You can say
hi. I wondered if you were going to be flying solo.
No, I'm never flying.
Hi!
Say hi. Hi. Good.
Hi!
Yes?
Where are you from? You are from, right?
Yes. I thought actually a lot about her when I wrote this poem, because I had such a magical, beautiful upbringing in many ways. And I was like, I want her to feel the same way about her childhood. So I definitely felt that as I was creating this.
Yeah. Obviously, I thought about my children as well. And like, what would they write? And then I got to read one of what they would write. And it made me cry. So,
And like, if you've not said this yet, I don't know what you said before I technically difficulty, you didn't get on here, but your introduction of the Where I'm From poem in my class is why I'm doing this, because after you introduce the Where I'm From to my students, I realized how amazing it is, and like what a great reflection it is on your own life of what you feel as a child. And you can even do it when you're 13, 14 years old and reflect back on where you're from. So, and my child ran into the front house. Hold on.
So Aly is joining us also with her small daughter, Maxine. So she ran off, which, for those of us who've ever had toddlers know that's part of the gig. So she'll return with her poem. And
sorry, I'm back.
Here she is.
She literally left into the front house.
She knows. Okay, she knows you're trapped. She can sense that you're trapped. Max.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hello, Alyson. Okay. Yes, Max.
So you should probably just launch into it while you have her in your hands before she runs away again.
Well, while I have her here. By myself, Aly Leavitt. I am from Diet Coke bottles hidden in the closet, from powdered Hostess donuts and the big shop truck that drove us to get both from 7-Eleven after Saturday morning chores. I'm from the tallest house on the block with the colorful walls, and the furniture that never stayed in the same spot for too long, because you can rearrange your furniture when you can't rearrange your life. I am from the plum tree that filled the air with its natural sweet perfume, whose fruit gave us the perfect, quick, juicy bite mid-horseback rides. I am from John Steinbeck's The Pearl readings that went over our heads at the time, and the old sailboat that sat in the garage that served as our favorite spot to hide. I'm from Gertrude in Virginia, and from hard workers that stood in the lines of the Great Depression and pull yourself up by your bootstraps attitude. From a father who gave up countless hours to others, only to leave his own family too soon. I am from the 3 long hours of church every Sunday morning, and reminders after leaving that I am a child of God, and don't worry about finding a perfect husband. From homemade wheat bread and grandma's crisp sugar cookies. From my dad massaging my mom's feet from his hospital bed. And from early morning breakfast at the pantry. Best pancakes in Los Angeles. From an engraved Book of Mormon on my 8th birthday. I am from the moments, from Birdie and Eagle in the backyard, from ABC donuts, from annual Disneyland passes, from long road trips through hot Arizona deserts. I am from Diet Coke and powdered Hostess donuts. I am from the Tommies on Rampart. From Saturday matinees at the Avenue. I am from Boyd and Barbara. Okay. So that's my goal. Thank you.
So you sort of talked about it a little bit. That was beautiful. I love the line about rearranging furniture when you can't rearrange your life.
That is what my mom said all growing up. Like, we honestly always change the furniture around. And I would always ask her, why are we switching the furniture again? And she would tell me, because you can rearrange the furniture when you can't rearrange your life. Mm-hmm. And I think that, and that goes back to that line that I said about my dad spending time with other people. I think that my mom really wished that she had asked my dad to spend more time with us. And I think that was part of that rearranging. Mm-hmm. Is like, she didn't want to, my parents had this, they still, to this day, my mom lives by the idea of she didn't want to crush our spirits. And she also felt the same way I think about my dad. And he was such a, like, he was always helping other people. And I think that really actually impacted her in a way that she still does not express to the same level as like how it's really impacted her. So yeah.
That's interesting because no one else has really talked about that. And that's something I actually grapple with in my own personal life, because I do like to help others, and I do like, it feels like I'm not religious, but I feel that same kind of like, we've been blessed in our lives, and so we want to give back to others, but I also need to make sure that I keep space for my own family. And that is like something people I don't think talk about that much, that when you do care deeply about others, but you also need to give your own family priority.
I don't think people talk about that really at all, because you're always thinking about like the volunteerism and how you give back to your community. And both of my parents did that together. I mean, there's a line about, or maybe I took it out, Thanksgiving McDonald's, because I think I took that one out, but we served the unhoused population on Thanksgiving and Christmas. We never had our own Thanksgivings. And so it was a giant part of our family. But I think that my dad would do like solo things without the rest of us. And I think he always thought, well, I'll have time later, right? Like my time to give to my kids will come later when we're all a little older and like we can really have conversations. And then he passed away when I was a teenager, and I'm the oldest of my siblings. Mm-hmm. And so I really feel for my youngest sister, who really missed out on that time with my dad. She was only 9 when he passed away. And my dad was, like I said, I had a really magical childhood, actually. My parents were amazing parents. I would like to be a 10th of the parent that they were.
You are.
So for my sister to miss out on that is something I think about often.
I've heard that from many oldest siblings who lose a parent, that their relationship with that parent who is gone obviously is very different from the younger ones, and that it's kind of like survivor's guilt.
Yes. And even when I went home recently, or I guess I didn't go home, I went to Arizona, my grandma's house recently, again, driving through the hot Arizona desert. We were talking about my dad, and I was recounting some of the things that we used to do that I talk about in this poem. We always went to breakfast on Saturday mornings after we did chores, and he took us all around LA. So I'm a foodie, and I think it's because of my father's love for food all around Los Angeles. We went to so many different places, and it's different for my sisters. They don't think about those memories. They don't have as much of a connection to the city of Los Angeles as I do, because I love LA because my dad loved LA, because my dad grew up in LA, and he knew everywhere. He didn't need the Thomas guide before we even had GPS. He didn't need that. Like, my friends would be like, I live here. And my dad would know exactly where to go.
No one has written about the Thomas Guide yet. That's a good one.
Yeah.
One of my kids came across my old Thomas Guide and was like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, where to me, it's like, oh man, so evocative still.
We're so
Certain
lucky
pages.
to have GPS, but that Thomas Guide, I remember it, bringing it out and like flipping the
Oh
page
yeah.
for my mom, not my dad.
Yeah, I was the map reader.
Yeah.
So,
I see that for you. I see you as the map reader.
yeah. I've also given birth to a map reader. So when people are like, he's so into maps, sure, of course
Right.
he is.
He would probably love a Thomas Guide.
He's looked at it. Many we've discussed.
Oh, okay.
As if it's like a book with words. It is a book, but for those of you who are not from a Thomas Guide area, it's about this thick, and it is maps of Los Angeles, and it is broken down Los Angeles as a grid. So it's a bit counterintuitive. And so you look at the large map of LA and you figure out what's square. So if you're navigating a distance, you have to flip through a lot of pages.
Yeah.
And it can be challenging. And I think a lot of people, when they first moved to LA before there was GPS, it was kind of like a trial by fire.
You know what's funny? I'm so Los Angeles, and by the time I moved from LA I went to university in Utah, there was already on your phone GPS. Mm-hmm. I did not know Thomas Guides were only for Los Angeles until you just said that.
I think that they are. I've never seen them anywhere else. You have Los Angeles, Orange County, San Bernardino County. I have lived other places, and because there's just a map. Because it's not the sprawl
yes.
of here, where it's like you can drive hundreds of miles. I mean, hundreds really, and still be in the Los Angeles area.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I think. Now I got to go find out. But what else was you talked about your experience in thinking about Maxine. What did you have to for me, something was interesting was trying to choose like what version of myself was I talking about. Did you go through that, or did you just kind of have a general like?
Yeah, I mean, I took a lot out, right? Like I played with it a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think that the version of myself that I did this for, or I did this about, was like my 12-year-old me. And I know that sounds weird, but that's like definitely where I was at, as I was thinking about my 12-year-old me. Because for anyone who knows me, I am not religious now at all. Mm-hmm. I'm a spiritual person, but I don't have religion, where religion was a giant part of my life from, 0 to probably 18. And that's just not who I am anymore. But thinking about that, I didn't think about it in like a negative way. I thought about it fondly, how I did when I was that age. And I still think about it fondly because my mom and dad were very progressive for being LDS, for being Mormon. So like, that's why I say that, and don't worry about finding a perfect husband. Because I know a lot of my friends who are no longer religious, and particularly LDS, they have a lot of like trauma around it. But my mom, I distinctly remember my mom when we left church, like basically going over what we learned and being like, yeah, no. You don't worry about that. Like, who cares about the perfect husband? What do you want to do with your life when you get older? Like, what's important to you? And so I don't have the trauma around that my peers and other friends do, because of the example of my parents. And I remember,
for her.
Yeah.
She was teaching you how to think critically.
I was agnostic, probably atheist, but just didn't say it during the time. And that was her father. And so I think it was because of having that influence and like her realizing my dad's not religious, but he's the best person I've ever known, that she would often tell us when we were young, like, you can be whatever you want. You can be non-religious, you can be Buddhist, you can join Judaism, you can join whatever religion you want, and I will still accept you. And so I think that definitely helps.
Hi.
He's back. He's back. Hi. So yeah, I wrote this for my 12-year-old self. That's who I really thought of when I wrote this.
Yeah.
I mentioned some things that didn't happen until I was older, like my father passing away. But I think I really reflected on like that time period. maybe my early teen years.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi. I could do that all day. So Captain American fight all day. I can just say hi to Maxine all day. Hi. I don't know if you saw Aly, but there was a friend of mine named Maxine who's on here who was like, great name.
Oh my God. It really is such a great name.
Mm-hmm.
It's the great. So it is actually a great name.
Yeah. It was just cute. I hadn't even made the connection until she was like, great name. Yes, it is. She's actually going to be here next week reading her poem.
Oh, I'll have to
Synergy.
Watch Maxine read.
Yeah. Well, any other last thoughts? You have a child to rear. So.
No, I really appreciated doing this, both with my students and you, and reading what they had to say and exposing, pieces of their life that I may have not been a part of or privy to previously. And it was also nice for me to reminisce on my childhood, especially because I had such an awesome one. I just had such great parents, and my sisters to this day are still my best friends and great grandparents. And, it was nice for me to think back on all of the amazing and special memories that I have from that time. And then also think back in a really genuine way about I wish that this had been different. I wish my dad had spent more time with us. Yeah. I wish that I hadn't lost him so early. And, I wish I had some of those moments more. So thank you. Thank you for giving me this experience.
Well, thank you for doing it. And I was so grateful to share it with the class, because I certainly have internalized, and I think many people have, I'm not a poet. People will say it to me when I ask them to join me. Oh, I'm not a poet. I'm like, me neither. Whatever that means. And so I was grateful to share this with students. And so hopefully maybe just plant the seed. You are a poet. And your words matter.
Myself that I'm not a poet, and then when I messaged you and was like, I'm sorry if it sucks. It does not suck. Honestly, that was the best compliment I could have gotten. I will be thinking about it for months, because I also don't feel like I am a writer. And then writing this, I felt like I was a writer. I felt like I had something to say.
Yes. And it's so powerful. And we all have something to say. And what I love about these prompts is that they help us get out of our self-limiting brain. So it's like, oh, I can fill in these. Someone texted me, these are like Mad Libs. I'm like, exactly.
Yes.
In the best way.
Do you hear that? Oh, falling. Yeah, they really are Mad Libs in the best way. And one last thing, when you said empowering people to say and be their true self, or be their genuine self, just empowering people to write, that's makes me think about, that's what I try and do every day with the kids, is empower them to use their voices, and to use their voices for good, and to put out that message into the world of what they want to say. And so it was interesting for me to turn around and do it for myself, and then feel what it's like to be vulnerable and put a piece of yourself out there. So I know I casually said, I want to do it too, when you but this has really been a great learning experience for me too. So thank you.
I love hearing that. And it is vulnerable. And it is good for us to do it and use our own words, not just retweet someone or repost somebody but say what we think, what we experienced, because we do bring something unique, each of us.
Yeah.
And so I am so glad you joined me. I'm so glad you did say, I want to do it too.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure. And I'll see you soon. So
I'll see you soon. We love it. Ladies love you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.